65192, you want to send me a text. At 5 o'clock, I will have your second of two chances today to get out to L.A. for the sold-out iHeartRadio Alter Ego Festival. It's Blink 182. It is the Black Keys. It is Billie Eilish. And many more. It goes down at the Forum in L.A. So you can win a trip with Rover at 9, win one 5 o'clock with me. And this is the last week to do it. You get a trip out there, you and a pal, and tickets and all that stuff. Motley Crue is going back on the road.
Wait, they said they're done. They did a farewell tour, and then they did like 8 more. Oh well.
Not even 4 years after Motley Crue made a big show of a farewell tour, they signed paperwork. They called it a cessation of touring contract, saying that they would never again perform. I guess we'd have to be pretty naive to figure out that was the case, but they said, we're going back out on the road. They said we would never, at the time, 2014, Nikki Sixx said, there's no amount of money that would ever make me do it again because I have such pride in how we're ending it. So in 2020, Motley Crue is back on the road with
Def Leppard, right?
Def Leppard and Poison.
Oh, wow.
Checking all the boxes. If you like one of those bands, you probably like the other two.
I like the new versions of the songs they're doing.
Which ones?
Like, Vince Neil's not the guy he used to be, so it's like Sit on the Devil. That's the only one I thought of.
Sit on the Devil.
Sit!
You went from shout to sit.
Yeah.
All right.
Sit on the Devil.
Yeah. Dr. Feel Okay? So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll say it was by popular demand, but there was always going to be popular demand. They did 158 dates on their farewell tour that spanned 2014 and 2015. I mentioned this because we're doing our Alter Ego at the Forum. That was where Motley Crue played their very last show. It's a hometown show, New Year's Eve 2015. So not even 4 years after that, they said that they had signed a binding document that would ever prohibit them from ever playing again. Now, I don't think that there's anything illegal about that, right? They're not breaking any...
No, it's a gimmick.
It's a gimmick, of course. That's right.
Of course they can go out and play.
And at the time,
I'm sure they put plenty of loopholes in there, like, unless we want to.
The group's management at the time failed to produce the document despite repeated requests. People are like, oh, let's see it. That's pretty cool. That's an interesting little take. And they're like, a few years ago backstage, Nikki Sixx said that legally we can't play again. The only loophole is if all 4 band members agreed to do it. How is that a loophole?
The loophole is unless we want to.
Right. Mm-hmm. How is it a loophole? Oh, we can't do it. It's just me and Vince, and we can't get 2 other guys to do it. But, MGK played Tommy Lee in The Dirt, which I never get around to watching.
Oh, you should give it a watch.
I read the book, and I don't see how the movie's going to top the book, but I that's one of those things that kind of talk about loopholes. I forgot about that. Never got around to it.
One of my most listened to episodes of Flicks and Bill with Corey Roddick.
Yeah, Corey.
Do you know Corey likes Motley Crue?
You know what? I heard a couple of things. I'm curious about his take on this. I could see him almost...
I think he's pumped.
I'm sure he is, but there's a part of me that thinks that he might take a little umbrage at this. Said they were going away?
Because
should
we're
go
liars.
Away. Well, no, listen, you can do whatever you want to do. I just think it's funny that it wasn't even 4 years. It's not like 20 years later these guys come back and go, we're doing it again. 4 years.
Right.
Like, how boring was everything else? Where they were like, oh, God, this sucks.
Or maybe they need money.
I don't think any of those guys need money. Vince Neil might need money. But I don't know that. Well, anyway. So, if you're a Motley Crue fan, boy, big news.
It's all the guys?
All the guys.
That's pretty crazy in this day and age for it to be all the original members.
But I like the quotes, especially since Mick Mars has always been in such bad physical condition.
Right.
I mean, he's like Mr. Glass, But the quotes from when they left are great because they're trying to sell you this big farewell tour. I don't even think Kiss did anything like this because they've been going on a farewell tour for the last 20 years. They're going, we're going to add more dates. As long as you keep adding more dates,
it's the same
it never
tour.
has to end. So Nikki Sixx at the time said, boy, if we went back out, we'd have so much egg on our face.
But so much money in our pockets, so who cares? I'll take a little egg on my face if it means a few $100 million in my pocket. Not $100 million, but a few $1 million in my pocket.
A lot of money.
Mm-hmm. I'm the devil.
Def Leppard, of course, still remains one of the most popular touring rock bands. Mm-hmm. Other than the Vegas thing they did, they weren't really in the United States much this year. And so Def Leppard, of course, inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2019, so they're in there. I don't think that Motley Crue is.
Kickstart My Heart's still about the same. They changed a few things.
Kickstart My Heart, yep.
Mm-hmm. To make it more fat-friendly.
Yep. Too Old to Fall in Love. They could do that one, right? Too Slow for Love. What I'm doing, Bill, is I'm just taking the antonym of whatever the word is.
Oh, see, I'm trying to make it...
You're trying to add an extra level to it.
I'm trying to make it appropriate for a fat Vince Neil.
I see.
That's what I like.
Well, they have a song called Take Me to the Top. What can you do with that?
Take me to the toppings.
What's that?
Take me to the toppings.
Take me to the toppings. Smoking in the Boys' Room. That was a cover song that they did. That was very popular, right? What can you do with Smoking in the Boys' Room?
Smoking in a brisket? I don't know.
Smoking in a brisket. All right, there you go. Write these down.
Smoking up a brisket.
Anyway, so, Motley Crue is going.
I don't go real deep with Motley Crue, so I don't know.
Wild Side, of course, could be Mild Side, right? I mean, yes.
Do you think that, how fans are suing Madonna because she shows up late? Do you think fans can sue Motley Crue for saying that they...
No, it's not a legally binding document. Although, to your point, I could see somebody pissed if they paid like $300
That's what I'm saying.
for... Yeah.
People were trying to sue Kanye West because his music became readily available off of Tidal. So people were suing him because of that.
I'm just always curious who these people are that sue somebody because they got...
I don't know.
Who's suing? I'm going to sue Motley Crue. Yeah, I'm sure that'll be a fair fight. Good luck with that.
You might get like $5,000 out of it.
$5,000?
Just to shut
Why
up.
would they give you $5,000?
Yeah, why would they? Yeah.
They're like, look, we told you what was happening, and sure, we lied. But there was no signed contract. Have you ever read the back of a paper ticket recently? I know a lot of people are getting their tickets scanned on their phone. Mm-hmm. You take a paper ticket and read the back of it.
You surrender all your rights.
They are indemnified from every goddamn thing between the venue and the band and everything else.
Because of all the people that have sued for all these different reasons, they're like, okay, we have to cover every single base, anything that you could think of, and then some. We got to make sure that our ass is protected.
That's right. It's like the opposite of antibiotics. Antibiotics don't work anymore because they were so overprescribed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so many people
now we got
sued.
super gonorrhea, which is probably also because of Motley
Crue. That's right. So super gonorrhea is going to see a rise in 2020 with Motley Crue, Def Leppard, and Poison going back out on the road.
When people keep saying 2020, I keep thinking, I'm like, oh, in like 5 years? No, it's next year.
It's like in a few months.
It's in a month.
Yeah,
and
2020.
A half.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's going to be 2020. And I keep thinking, oh, 2020? You mean like 5 years from now?
Nope. It's right around the corner, my friend. And again, when we talk about Rock Hall inductions and things like that, I am no purist. And I think that music evolves, and different generations will consider different things. Rock and roll. Mm-hmm. I'm a Gen Xer. I was a metalhead. I'm still a metalhead, but that music really ruled. Hair metal ruled when I was coming up, and then when I was in college, it was grunge and murdered all those bands overnight. And I was fine with that too. Right? Something needed to change, but I am a little weirded out by what's considered rock bands now, because I was reading about the biggest rock album of this decade.
And it is Imagine Dragons.
You're close.
Yeah.
They are on the list of the top 5. Twice. 21 Pilots.
Oh, yeah.
Which is not surprising. If you gotta bend the light through that prism, I could see it. I can kind of see it with 21 Pilots.
Blurry Face? What's it?
Blurry Face.
Yeah. It's a good album.
Is the biggest rock album of the decade. But the other 4 were what gave me pause. Now, first of all, I don't know why they call some of these bands rock bands. I don't know.
Because rock is always evolving, Alan.
And I know
You
that.
can't keep doing the same thing your dad did. You got to make new stuff.
And that's what I said. Like, I know that it evolves, but I feel like it still has to maintain some fundamentals to it. And I guess I think it's largely because these were bands that were getting played by rock radio. Mm-hmm. So they just go, here's your rock bands. So 21 Pilots, don't have a problem with, right? Top selling album of the decade. But the other 4 best-selling albums of the decade. The number 2 best-selling album of the decade. Rock album.
Okay.
Mumford and Sons.
It was not your fault but mine. Yeah, banjo rock. Who doesn't like a little banjo rock?
No one's ever used the phrase banjo rock before.
Well,
banjo.
Because they're on the cutting edge.
Banjo is anathema to rock and roll.
When we're talking about things like the requirements to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I'm not saying they're going to get in on the first ballot. It'll probably, because they had one of the top rock albums of the decade. It's so hard to say.
You can't even say it with a straight face.
Try and take this. Yeah, they're like folk. They're folk. They're like aggressive folk. Alternative folk is what I would think of them.
Let me ask you this. I mean, how is a band defined as a rock band? Is it defined by the band themselves? Is it defined by the fans? I mean, I was downtown the night that we were having a party with a friend.
Is it defined by the straw hats of the people that listen to it?
Or the waistcoats?
Yeah.
I don't know. But I certainly don't know anybody. I was downtown the night that Mumford and Sons played at the old Q. Now it's the Romo Fijo.
Right.
It used to be called the Q.
So
and boy, there were a lot of hipster beards and hats, and you know the crowd you'd think would want to go see Mumford and Sons.
Right.
It never once crossed my mind that was a rock band they were going to see.
Yeah, they're just.
Hey, what's the best rock concert you ever saw? Nobody says Mumford and Sons. And then Imagine Dragons are in the top 5 twice, and rounding out the list is the Guardians of the Galaxy.
They what?
Awesome Mix Volume 1. That soundtrack
just the
for
soundtrack?
Just the soundtrack for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Like, that should be exempt because those songs are not... Those are all from, like, the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
They're just saying, here are the best-selling rock albums of this decade.
All right, there you go.
But Mumford and Sons.
Mumford and Sons.
I feel like that's where I have to put my foot down. And I don't often like to do that. People don't want to see my feet in that way. But I feel like I've really got to put my foot down about Mumford and Sons being considered a rock band. Now, you say, well, Alan, what do you call them? I don't know. I'm not a fan. Not for me to decide. You call them whatever you want.
Aggro folk.
Aggro folk. They're always splinters. They're always mashups and cool.
Give me some actual Mumford and Sons.
Do I have
give me
to?
like Little Lion Man. You got that one?
Well, let me look. This is Mumford and Sons. You don't like this?
They didn't start chasing us till you started playing that Getaway music. Simpsons on Disney Plus has been very good to me.
I know. Been very good. Getaway music. Let me dial up some Mumford and Sons here. And then we're going to rock out, Bill.
Yeah, I'm ready to rock.
That's right.
It's the exact same.
Now, again, don't get me wrong. These aren't bad songs.
Right.
They're just not rock and roll songs. They're not a rock band. You wanted Little Lion Man?
Yeah. Who likes artisan blood orange vodka and soda?
How many aviations are there? I got extra lavender.
Who has a chicken and collects their own eggs? Yeah.
Weep, little lion man, you're not as brave as you were at the start.
Yeah, there you go.
Put your hands up if you like small batch goods.
Don't forget to compost. Good night.
They call it in the sea.
Anyway, to me,
Did everybody bring their own bag to take their merch home in?
People call Coldplay a rock band, and
Yeah.
I guess if you have enough, I don't know, maybe Mumford and Sons has pyro. What do I know? And so, how do you define it? You know what I mean?
They just play by gas lamps.
Is there a lot of bombast at a Mumford and Sons? I mean, listen, you could take any band and for the stage production, give it a lot of woomph, but that doesn't make the source material rock and roll.
Right.
Is what I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I got my head up my ass. But boy, when you're talking about And again, 21 Pilots, I mean, I have to defer somewhere.
When you go, I saw them live, it feels like you're at a rock show.
There you go.
When you're there, they have the live drums. The lead singer is all over the place. He also plays multiple instruments. Like, there's a lot of loops and stuff that they use too, but it's got a very rock energy to it.
There you go.
And I think it's a little reggae at times, but I think they have some rock elements in it.
And again, I mean, reggae is fine in rock and roll. The Police are essentially a reggae band. Blowing up the bathroom has been suggested for smoking.
Blowing up the bathroom.
Oh, that's pretty good. Vaping in the boys' room. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So I would just...
Ow! Kickstart my heart. I'm having a heart attack now.
Ow. Alan, Mumford and Sons is Jamgrass.
Jamgrass.
Okay.
Don't like that.
No. If you're like, what's your favorite kind of musical mashup?
What kind of music do you like? I'm pretty into Jamgrass. Just now. You got to get out of the car.
Well, how about if I tell you where to jam that grass?
I even like some Mumford and Sons, but don't call it Jamgrass.
Yeah!
It's just folk. It's folk to me. It's like James Taylor. Where would you put him? He's a folk
music.
singer.
Yeah.
This is like a little bit amped up James Taylor music.
And by the way, it's not even the fault of Mumford and Sons or their fans.
No.
What that means is that there is a serious void in rock and roll where they go, what's your favorite rock band that you saw this year? Mumford and Sons.
What's yours?
I mean, Foo Fighters can only shoulder so much of the load while they're out there.
Hey, you know who needs some love? The Struts. Struts are doing some cool stuff.
I like the Struts.
They do some good rock music.
Yeah, Struts are good. I mean, I don't think they're reinventing the wheel.
No, but it's just good, solid rock music,
Yes.
and I feel like they should be getting more play.
Don't wanna live as an untold story. Rather go out and...
But again, I mean, a lot of hand clapping.
Well, that's they
you know.
have many songs though.
I understand.
I feel like Prima Donna would be a good one.
Falling in the bathroom, that's another one.
Farting in the bathroom.
I don't see Prima Donna up here.
Eating in the bathroom.
Yeah. So, Poundcake is a perfect example. You go, what's your favorite punk band? And we bust his balls. And he says, Panic at the Disco. Because, it's different. It takes different...
Well, it just also shows you how fragmented music is now, because there's these bands that are coming up are getting, like a band like 21 Pilots who has a massive fan base, but it's a very young fan base.
Yes.
So they all came together and support them, but, I mean, it's really hard to get everybody on board the way, like, in the 80s, there was, like, hair metal, there was, you were rock or you were disco kind of thing. Like, there was two basic subcategories, and now it's a million different. There's so many options out there.
Yeah. Okay. Zach Brown Band is more rock and roll than Mumford.
I would absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Don't tell Mary that, but
well,
I actually
but
don't care about making anyone upset.
So, Alan, if you had to pick one to go in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Whitney Houston or Mumford and Sons?
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, I would like to know that.
Mumford and Sons.
Really?
They're playing guitars and there's drums and they probably have explosions at their show. I'm just saying, it's not you don't listen to that and go, man, this is a great rock and roll band. I mean, yeah, Whitney Houston is not even remotely rock
in the
and
same
roll.
category.
That's what I say.
Who has done more cocaine? He's got to factor in the drugs and sex part.
Well, Mumford and Sons are all still alive.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Whitney Houston.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
She had 44 years of doing it. She's a
You
veteran.
think she started when she was a little baby?
Out of the birth canal.
She started when she was 14.
Yep. They gave her a little straw.
All right.
I can't
Was
do
she
that
44 when she died?
She was 44.
Wow.
I thought she was older.
Me too.
She's young. Damn.
All right,
That's
I got a
sad.
break. Christmas Kwanzaa. It is a Bill Squire holiday tradition, and it's coming up Sunday, December 29th at the Cleveland Agora. The tickets are on sale. So if you want to go to agoracleveland.com and look into it for yourself, I will have a pair for you to win when we return here. 35192 if you want to text, AlanCoxShow.com for everything else.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7